Good evening. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Minnesota Activist page and live show. Peace, love, happiness, foreskin. Tonight we are talking with Alex Frick. Garbage, foreskin is not garbage, and boys are not born broken. The topic. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Minnesota Activist page and live show Peace, Love, Happiness, Foreskin. Today we are talking about MGM and with Alex Frick. Foreskin is not garbage and boys are not born broken. No need to fix what isn't broken. Perfect. Approved ad. Alex Frick will soon be on.
Okay.
Perfect. We are live here on Minnesota Activist page. And I am echoing back at myself. Why is that? Can you hear that echo?
Here, I'll get my headphones. Hold on.
Is it still echoing? Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
Gotta get my headphones. Where the heck did I put them?
Well, as he's getting his headphones,
What?
why is it echoing back at me? Everything I say is echoing.
Yeah, no.
I think we might have to start over and try again.
Hold on. I can fix it. Hold on.
Okay.
There.
Okay, so okay, no more echoing. All right, perfect. Welcome to my page, Minnesota Activist. And I made up a interview questions for MGM victims. And we are here talking with Alex Frick. I'm so glad to be able to do this interview with you. You're very awesome. Was able to, we had a nice conversation a couple days ago, and I just met him. And he's a young victim of MGM, and he's very. I really think you're a really intelligent guy, a great artist, tech savvy, love it. And I just have some questions for you. Any questions you don't want to answer, just skip them.
I will
But
answer most likely all of them.
okay. Well, my first question, and I always like to ask everybody, is how are you doing tonight? Is my first question.
I'm okay. I'm awesome. I just recently got Blu-ray copy of American Circumcision, documentary I would recommend to anyone, and I'm currently going to be showing it to some family members and wider audiences, getting more involved in activism. So, yeah, doing that.
Awesome. And then I always like to ask how old you are, because it's like
I
important
am an
age range.
18-year-old male. I'm from originally from Bixby, Oklahoma, but I currently live in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, which is near Tulsa or Oklahoma City. For people who don't live around me, who are wondering where that is.
Okay. And then, at what age did you learn about MGM?
14 years old.
Teen. Very young. And how, where, and who taught you the truth about MGM?
It was all done on my own. I'm very interested in psychology and sociology, and I was actually doing a research into African cultures, and I found out about FGM. And on one of those links, there was a link to a comparison between MGM, FGM and MGM, and I was like, what? I didn't know what that was. When I got on there, I realized it was talking about circumcision, or and the only thing I know until then is when I was 5 years old, I was in the shower with my grandpa. I was seeing him, and he was intact or uncircumcised. And I had come home and asked my mom about. I talked to my grandma, and she said, "Well, talk to your mom about it." I asked my mom, and she said, "Oh, well, it's just an extra piece of skin that they cut off when you were born." So I never questioned it until then. And all it took was that one link, and that link has spawned 4 years of research and experiences talking with doctors, nurses, lay people. I have a astounding amount. I mean, the sheer depth of knowledge and experiences I've had on this kind of excludes me from ever not speaking about it or not being an activist. It's caused me some personal pain that I could get into later. I'm sure there will be different questions on that. So, but anyway, that is how I came to my own realization. It was never anyone else. It was always me going out on my own, and that's how I've been about everything throughout my life. Everything that I've learned of chemistry, computers. I'm a IT expert and developer. Everything. I've learned more on my own than I ever did in school. Let's just say that. So that's how I found out.
Um, I had to resume it for a second there. Facebook doesn't really like me that much, so they like to cut me out. Okay, so
So
when
did it not catch all my video?
just for a few seconds there, it didn't. Just
Oh,
for
okay.
like a second. For the last like second you were talking, so I
Oh,
had to
okay.
resume. Every probably I say 8 to 10 minutes, I may have to keep resuming the thing because it makes me. But so when did you discover you were a victim of MGM? Hi Zane. Hi Tanya.
Probably, um, well, probably that within that week after I clicked that first link. I remember sitting beside my mom's bed and feeling very alone about it. Like, how in the world could I ever describe or talk to anyone about this or talk to my mom about it? And I was crying, and it was kind of one of the deepest shocks and realizations I'd probably ever come to in my young life.
I bet. Well, I mean, I have this question here, but I mean, I don't. I'm assuming you never were in denial, but I have the question is, have you ever gone through a period of denial or disbelief?
I had a small period of disbelief, um, and the more I've learned about it, I have a disbelief. It's incredible that our culture continues this, and it's incredible that there's almost a systematic ignorance among the American public, among females, among peers my age, and among doctors. And so part of my main thing is to go out and change things with education and love.
You are awesome. You are going to change the world. I can see it. We need more young men that are able to do this, to able to get out there and speak and to tell their story.
Quite.
And I'm definitely here to listen, and that's why I created these questions and hoping to get more people to speak out. And I'm really, really proud of you. You're awesome. Okay. Sorry, I'm going through. Say, what injuries, symptoms, and issues have you experienced or discovered from MGM?
Well, if we're going to go in the topic of my own penis, which I'm actually not afraid to talk about, I was done with cream anesthetic. Babies can either be done with no anesthetic, cream anesthetic, or a local anesthetic. They can't be given total anesthesia, unlike adults. So I was given a cream anesthetic, and my mother was told that I wouldn't really feel it, and kind of just took me away. And I was done with the method that is most common. That's the Gomco clamp, and the reason I could tell that is because my circumcision scar is rather dark and pronounced. One side is slightly cut more than the other, so that's caused, as many circumcised men can tell you if they know about it, a slight bend in my penis. It's not terrible. I've seen many other more extreme bends, and then also I have a mild case of meatal stenosis, where the urethral opening from abrasion as a child on the diaper causes that to close up. The foreskin is actually a natural covering that protects the penis from abrasion and from foreign substances. What's amazing to me is that people will claim that it prevents infections, yet they put a wounded, raw, exposed mucosal body part in a diaper filled with urine and feces. And so the acidic quality of uric acid in the urine also can contribute to that. So for anyone out there who's more educated on this, I have what I would call a medium tight cut. My frenulum is, and for those who don't know what a frenulum is, our body has tethering structures. There's one there, well, under our tongue. There's a one on females underneath your clitoris, and there's also one on males underneath the glands. That's also usually ablated with circumcision. I have a small stripe left, a small, what I call it a line or a sliver left, and I would say that's the most sensitive remnant part of my penis. I've invented because I'm an inventor, a tweaker, a modder. I've always taken things apart and put them back together since I was a little kid. I do it very well. I can repair engines, computers, you name it.
Awesome.
I'm into maintenance about all sorts of systems, just a general handyman. So I invented a polypropylene cone, polypropylene sheath is what I call it. I call it my sheath. And I started wearing it when I was 14. And I noticed that my glands dekeratinized very rapidly over a course of about a month. Now, for those who don't know what that is, keratin is the protein that's found in our hair, in our nails, and in our skin. And it's also found in calluses. A circumcised man, the glands is exposed to the air and exposed to friction and abrasion against clothing, and it causes a slow, throughout his lifetime, keratinization, almost like a callus over your glands. Most circumcised guys don't even realize this, but if you know, you can attest to it. It's usually dry, flaky, more leathery looking, rather than a moist mucosal surface like, say, the inside of your mouth or the inside of a woman's vagina, around the labia. The labia and clitoral hood protect the vagina. The eyelids protect the eyes. Every mucosal sensory surface on the body has its own natural covering, so the foreskin can be compared as almost like the eyelid of the glands. So layers, when I was wearing this, layers would literally slough off.
Oops. Oh, you're stuck. You're stuck. I don't know why you're stuck. Why are we stuck? Why are we stuck? Stuck. No. We were stuck for a minute. We were at layers.
Oh yeah.
Talking about
yeah. And as I wore it, I could peel these layers off in the shower, and each successive layer underneath was pinker, softer, more glossy, more mucosal, and more sensitive, and it looked very beautiful. I've always appreciated the symmetry and beauty of the natural human body. As a child, I learned a lot about the human body. So I view it kind of as a strange thing to alter something that our bodies are, there's no superfluous part on the body. Every part has a purpose, and so to alter that, to remove that from someone from birth without their consent, I consider a grievous human rights violation. And as anyone can tell you, and it's been commonly said, the more you know about circumcision, or male genital mutilation, as I properly call it, the more you're against it, the more it's almost like going down a rabbit hole, going down Alice's rabbit hole. And once you know, you can't unknow it. It's not something that's easy to forget. So I implore anyone who's an American, any woman, man, this affects society at large. All the things that are taboo that we're not supposed to talk about, religion, sex, politics, all in the most deeply personal way possible. And ignorance and cognitive dissonance are powerful defense mechanisms. I find people are very defensive and resistant to learning new information. So I try to almost have a hook, something that grabs their attention, something that they can relate to. I find that some intactivists are very pushy and somewhat aggressive in their tactics, and I find that turns people off. And so to reach them, we've got to approach, like I said before, with education and love. So that's where I stand, and that's where I'm continuing to do all sorts of work. I don't want to go. It would be kind of boring to go into all the details of everything that I'm doing right now. But as I burgeon forth into my adult life, that's just something that I want to do. So yeah.
I'm not sure if you can see the comments, but we have a so Tanya was asking, she said that it's incredible, and she asked, were you inspired by Ron Lowe to make the device yourself, the device you were talking about?
No, I had seen an artificial foreskin called SenseLip. I bought that and tried it. It's not for me. I've also seen Manhood. It's another artificial foreskin that it's not rubber or polypropylene or polystyrene based. I haven't tried that, but I've looked into it. Ron Lowe, I've known about him, and he's probably the most prominent creator of restoration devices, and he's a personal friend of mine. I know it was all done on my own. When I very first thought about this, before I had even researched restoration methods besides manual tugging, I tried doing a T-tape method with just regular tape, not even medical tape. That didn't work. And so I tried different materials. I tried strips of materials, different grades of plastic, from trash bags to polystyrene, and I just found them. And I can actually show you the material that I make it out of.
Okay. Oh, we're stuck again. Hold on here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they're getting you stuck. I'm hoping. Okay. Hopefully we get this back. All right, you're stuck. Hold on. Don't know why they got you stuck. What the heck? Why is it stuck on your end? You have to do something with the screen. We have to unstick you here. You're stuck. You're frozen. Oh no, we lost him. Okay, we're gonna add you back on. We're adding him back on here. Oh, shoot. All right, you podcast. For some reason, it stuck you. Oh, here we go. There we go. I gotta get. Okay, approved. Sorry about why it's doing that. I'm sure it's just Facebook.
Sorry, my dad was calling. My
Sometimes.
my dad was calling, and I told him not now, so it cut it off. So I had to close
I
and
see. Okay.
close.
Okay.
I had to close and rejoin.
Okay.
Anyway, this is the material that I make it out of. It's actually a great value fold top.
Hello. Hi.
And it's not just regular Ziploc bags. It's thinner. It's one of those cheap fold over ones. I've had this box for about a year, and it lasts a long time. It was like $2, and it's amazing that it's lasted this long. And I essentially use a scissor, and I cut a little cone, and I actually just, I'm actually in a robe right now with underwear, so I can actually take mine off that I'm currently wearing and show you. And that's what it looks like. Like it, it's comfortable, it's easy to wear, it just sticks from your own moisture that builds up over time. And I think it's interesting how people will complain about intact smell, but I actually find the smell of genitals rather beautiful, both male and female. They produce pheromones that are designed to be sexy. And of course, if you don't wash your genitals for a long amount of time, a woman, if she doesn't wash it, if a man who doesn't wash it, eventually it gets kind of rancid, and yeah, that smells bad. It smells fishy, but as long as you keep clean, there's a light smell that I actually find very beautiful. And usually when I urinate, I'll actually smell it. That may sound weird, but
I've heard men tell me that.
I enjoy it, and past sexual partners that I have, they've always enjoyed it. They always were like, well, I think that's crazy that a lot of women will say that intact men smell, and a lot of them don't even know how many smell. They just kind of go along with what other people are saying. There's almost this taboo on the appearance of an intact male, and our senses of beauty are formed by our culture, and I find that them sometimes very twisted for both males and females. We have a lot of cosmetics, a lot of all that stuff. And I personally don't find a scar on genitals to be beautiful. I find, like I said, the natural symmetry of the natural human body to be an astounding thing and not something to be messed with. So.
Turn it back. I just had to put a sign up there while you were talking. Okay. So, I put this question on here, and I know it's not a lot of people are gonna. It's, have you ever had any dreams or flashbacks about the torture you experienced as an infant? And then the
yes.
reason I asked that. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Not flashbacks. Because obviously you can't. Well, 95% of the time you can't directly remember it. But I have had a lot of dreams. I've also had a lot of dreams about me doing things to other people. I've worked with a lot of foster kids. I know a lot about sexual trauma and sexual violence and violence as a whole.
Good night. Sorry, go ahead. Just had a comment. Sorry.
Oh, okay. And so I've worked with a lot of foster kids and a lot of rape survivors and a lot of other cut men that feel similar feelings. I'm not...
Oh, I think we're stuck again. Did we get a call? We're stuck. We're stuck. There we go. We got stuck again.
Yeah. I'm not trying to compare the two, but from what I've learned about both of them and from seeing people's stories from all sorts of people, young and old, I can say that in many ways rape is worse than genital mutilation, and in many ways genital mutilation is worse than rape. There's some similar feelings between the two, the feeling of having been violated and loss of bodily autonomy and integrity. There's been a lot of feelings that I've had about almost feeling like my body is not mine, like it was society's, or those type feelings. And so I've had dreams about being held down. I've had dreams about holding other people down and circumcising them, both male and female, including the doctor that that cut me. Of course, I don't know his name. I'm actually trying to find that out. I'm actually trying to find out, go through my birth records. I'm going to go soon to St. John of Tulsa. And I actually, last time I was there, I took a very powerful photo that I made that I like to show people. I made a little
We'd love to
stand-up.
see it.
I made a little stand-up card. This is St. John of Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's where I was born and circumcised at. I chose the stark day that I was there, and I took this photo up. And I think that the cross on top is very ironic, a symbol of love.
Absolutely.
A symbol of love, hope, and peace. Most of my family members are Christian. I'm currently an agnostic, but very open to spiritual principles and very open to learning about God and Christianity. Not an atheist at all. My dad and stepmom are currently teaching me a lot about Christianity, and I'm deciding whether to come back to the faith of non-denominational Christianity. My mom's also a Catholic, so I've had a lot of experience with a lot of different religions, and even Jewish religions, and religion does play a part in this. And one thing I would like to tell Christians out there is that if you look in a lot of people will say, oh, well, I circumcised because I'm a Christian, and they only go off this one thing in the Old Testament when God told Abraham to circumcise his sons. They don't look at all of the things in the New Testament from the disciples of Jesus Christ saying that it's of no use, that it's not, that circumcision is of no use, and it was just a tribal cultural thing among rabbis. If you look at I know a lot about the history of circumcision as well through various cultures, both male and female, from Africa, from Egypt, and around that whole Saudi Arabian peninsula where all these Abrahamic religions started, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And they all have genital cutting of some sort in there, but Christianity is the one that has less. And so to see it happening in America and see people use that as yet another excuse. There's an endless amount of pathetic justifications and excuses that are surrounded around this topic, and I can debunk them all. Just ask me. And a lot of people, and that's another part where people get very defensive. Yeah. People are afraid of what they'll learn. They're very, it's almost like they're very invested in the idea that this is something that was done for them rather than to them. And so to talk about people my age, especially teenage boys my age, who may or may not have been circumcised, you see a lot of uncomfortable reactions, but eventually they come around. You almost have, and if you watch the American Circumcision, this fabulous documentary by Brendan Marotta, it's his first feature-length feature-length as director, and it's masterfully executed. The command of the topic is impressive, and the music is moving. So again, I recommend anyone to watch it. It's an invaluable tool for Intactivists.
Yes, watch this movie for sure. Everybody, for sure.
So that's all I got to say on that. So what's your next question, Gwendolyn?
Okay. So, well, I have this one question, but I'm not sure. I put it there, and I put, at what age did you have your first memory? And the reason I asked this question is because of the biggest excuse that people say is that he won't remember as an infant. And like some people have their memory earlier than others. So,
I have my memory is very strong. I almost have a photographic memory. That's the reason I can remember everything that I learned so well. I'm almost like an encyclopedia of knowledge. Imagine my brain is a hard drive, and I can remember memories all the way back even to like 3, 4, 5 years old. Memories of my family. So I have of course I don't remember my actual circumcision, but I do remember. I mean, like that stuff I said with my grandfather that happened when I was around 5, 6 years old. So I have a pretty good memory. I can remember back pretty far, pretty much as early as is possible for the human brain. So, yeah.
Because I know it is. I just wanted to say that it's a rare thing, but it actually is real. Like people can remember things from even inside the womb. I've seen like a
Yes, and I've seen that too. And it is possible, and there are men that do that. It's very rare, but it does happen, but I'm not one of those, so.
Yeah, it's a rare thing. And so, okay, so how do your parents feel about MGM, both mom and dad?
My mom, she's been there a long time
Sorry,
with
I had
me. She's only
thank you.
recently come to a really truthful, deep understanding of it the way I have and how it's affected me. She's apologized, and we currently work together. She helped me donate $100 to the Kickstarter for Brendan Morota's American Circumcision project, and for that, for reward for that, I get a digital copy and a signed DVD, the soundtrack, and bonus features. So this copy that I have on Blu-ray, I actually bought that from Barnes and Noble. So that's not the signed copy that I'm going to be getting from him, but so yeah, she's been supportive and more understanding than I thought she would, and she wasn't at first. Same thing with my dad. My dad is slowly coming around. Um, it was very interesting to watch his defense mechanisms at first. It's almost like he was wanting to find anything that he could to defend why it was done to him. And I find that with a lot of guys about they want it to look like me, or and I view that as a deep defense mechanism to rather than admit that maybe something is off about it or something is wrong about it. It's easier to just perpetuate the practice on to your own child. And I really feel that would drive a chill down our spine. Like, is that what we want to be doing as parents? Is molding our children to look like us? The main issue surrounding the human rights issues surrounding this is the right to genital autonomy, the right to bodily integrity, the right to make choices about your own body. I find it ironic that as an 18-year-old, I've only just recently been able to buy tobacco and vaping products. I'm a vapor, an ex-smoker, and you have to, and I have to be 18 to get a tattoo, and I have to be 21 to drink. But yet, someone as an infant can remove part of my body without my consent. It's
Very good
interesting.
point. I like your point. Very good. Oh, yes, that is interesting. Absolutely. And then let's see here. Gotta go back to my. So, what did your parents say to you? What about your dad? What does your dad think about it, real quick, before I go on to the next?
Well, now he's still looking more into it. He understands because he understands how much I know about it. He understands my feelings about it, but he hasn't really connected it to himself. Even though I've had discussions about it, and I'm not going to go into his personal life or his personal sex life, because that's his, and that would be inappropriate for me to share here, but I could just say that, he has a little bit of way to go. But he's a very loving father. I cherish him very much. He's taught me a lot of things in life. He's not a bad father. I forgive both my parents. They were both very ignorant and very almost when I was born, it was done by C-section. I was done premature. There was a lot of stress around it, so it was kind of like the last thing that they thought about. The consent paper was almost kind of just shuffled in with all the other consent papers. It's like sign here, sign here, sign here. A lot of mothers are even asked while they're still under, drugs from. So there's almost no informed consent whatsoever. Any other operation that you perform on someone, it would be informed consent, and it would be consent from the person you're doing it to. So I find it just baffling that's how this works. If you, and I would implore anyone to look at the very sordid and dark history of.
Oh, we're stuck again. We're stuck here. I don't know why. We're stuck. We got stuck.
Cut out again.
Yeah, we got stuck.
There's a very sordid history of it. If you.
Nope, we're stuck again. Why is this doing this? Why? Hold on here. It'll come back in a second. There we go. You're back. You're back.
Lacey Green, who is a very fun woman. She's a sex educator and works on feminist issues. I consider myself a feminist. Not a fourth wave feminist, not a radical feminist, not feminists and some ideas of feminism tend to be kind of anti-male. That's not how I'm at a state of equality. You could call me a meninist as well. I'm just for human rights for everyone, for children, for everyone. And I feel like this is a very ignored issue among the feminist community, but it affects women too. It affects the sexuality of women too, and mothers. And it's sometimes it's uncomfortable for mothers to come to terms with this, especially if they've chosen to have their child cut. But there are answers at the other side of these problematic questions. And there are ways to heal, and it can only happen if we are present with our feelings and open to discussion.
Yes, and I would like to just elaborate on the effects that it affects women, because it affected me, and I didn't even know until I was almost 40 years old did I know or was even informed, about MGM or any of that. I had no idea, and I've always had what I want to try to keep it appropriate, but at the same time, I mean, it's always been painful. Intimacy has been painful for me, and I never understood why.
A lot of women think that that's their fault. Here's an interesting thing. America has the highest HIV rate of any industrialized country. We are the highest consumer of Viagra of any industrialized country, and we're the highest consumer of personal lubricants of any industrialized country. The foreskin is actually a natural gliding mechanism that eases penetration and eases masturbation. It's crazy. Only in America does everyone think that males have to use lotion. There's that stereotypical, grab lotion and Kleenex. And a lot of people rely on excessive amounts of lubricant during intercourse. The genitals are perfectly designed to fit together and to work together by themselves. There's a clitoral hood for women and labia that protects all that and keeps everything moist and sensitive. And so it's likewise for the male. A lot of women talk about, the foreskin is nasty. It's like, you have one too. It's called the prepuce. The more gender neutral term, the correct scientific term is the prepuce. I view foreskin as kind of a euphemistic term, just like circumcision is a euphemistic term. And just like we use the term uncircumcised, it's almost like implying that circumcision is the norm. Imagine if we had a society where we routinely mastectomized girls to prevent breast cancer.
Exactly.
Which breast cancer occurs way more common than penile cancer. Any of the, if you look at all the health benefits, they're either completely wrong, or the benefits are so minimal that it's a radical solution. People tote it around like it's a vaccine, but it's not. This idea that doctors can improve upon the human body by violating medical ethics of first doing no harm is, you got to show me major proof for that, and
absolutely.
There is not.
No.
So
Yes.
yeah, I implore American women, young women, any mother, to really think deeply about people. A lot of women tend to scream, "My body, my choice," and everyone should have the right to their own body. Everyone should feel safe. Everyone should be free from sexual harm and violence. And I think it's interesting that women will scream that from the tops of rooftops, but deny that own right to their own sons.
Right. That is so true.
What's your next question?
Did I ask, what did your parents say? I think I screwed up here. What did your parents say to you when you confronted them? Like the first time you actually confronted your parents about MGM, what did they say to you?
Very dismissive. Why would you worry about that? Or, again, that's defensive, dismissive, you get these bizarre, curious reactions from people. It's because it's something that you're not supposed to talk about. It's considered a one-time decision that you never have to think about again. but really it's almost like cut the umbilical cord, cut the foreskin. It's not given a second thought, but it actually has ripples through time, affecting our social order of our relationships. And and actually, I want to make this film as concise and short and direct as possible so that I could share it with people and not have them, glaze their eyes over and not want to listen to it all the way through. So I thought as part of this, I have pamphlets for the documentary American Circumcision, which won a Lone Star Film Festival Award and the Social Justice Film Festival Award, competing against tens and tens of other documentaries. So that should give you a hint at how powerful and important this film is. So I want to read a film synopsis from the director himself, Brendan Marotta, a good friend of mine, and I would encourage you to see his YouTube channel, and he talks to his audience personally. But anyway, let me read this for you all. Circumcision is the most common surgery in America, yet America is the only industrialized country in the world to routinely practice non-religious infant circumcision. Why does America continue to cut the genitals of its newborn baby males when the rest of the world does not? American Circumcision explores both sides of the circumcision debate, including the growing Intactivist movement, which is a pseudonym of intact plus activist, which believes that all human beings have a right to keep the body they were born with intact. This is the first documentary of its scale to comprehensively explore this cutting-edge issue, no pun intended, which involves sex, politics, and religion, all in the most personal way possible. When people hear that I've made a documentary on circumcision, one of the first questions they usually ask is, why did you decide to make a film about this? In the past, it has been a difficult question for me to answer, not because I don't have strong reasons, but because I don't know how anyone could know what I've learned and not make this film. Imagine for a minute that there is an issue that affects every man in America, every person who loves a man, every parent, woman, child, and family, and that no one had ever made a major documentary about this issue. Wouldn't you want to make a film about that? Now imagine that this issue affects men in the most deeply personal way possible, that it causes us pain as infants and children and permanently alters our sexuality, literally scarring us for life. People are afraid to speak about this issue publicly, but everyone knows what it is. Regardless of where you fall in this issue, we have a responsibility to talk openly and honestly about it. When you begin discussing this issue, you'll find that people have false beliefs about even the most basic facts. People will try to claim that circumcision does not involve cutting or removing tissue, that there isn't a specifically designed board children are strapped down to when this is done to them, or that circumcision hasn't often been done without anesthetic. People are naturally repulsed by what this does to children and find it nearly impossible to integrate the truth about circumcision into their day-to-day life. When I first began working on this film, I thought I would just share information with people and then they would understand. What I found was that people are resistant to even learning new information. They fear what they might discover. In our culture, men are only allowed to have one feeling about circumcision: I'm fine with it. But what does it mean if you aren't fine? What happens when you allow yourself to explore the full range of emotions you feel about circumcision? When circumcision is discussed in American media, it is typically viewed as a one-time decision that parents make and never have to think about again. But the truth is more like dropping a stone in a pond, a decision that ripples through that man's life, to his sexuality, his body, his self-image, his relationships, his feelings, his culture, religious institutions, medical institutions, and even through the laws of his country, for the rest of his life. This film looks at these ripples echoing through time, affecting our social order and our intimate relationships, the feelings we're not allowed to explore until now. What I've learned by working on this project for over 6 years is that on the other side of these questions are answers. The challenges presented by this problematic and painful procedure have solutions which seem simple and clear, which like I said, when we are present with our feelings. I invite you to explore those feelings with a variety of perspectives that I've gathered from interview subjects all around the world. If you approach with an open mind, you might find these people have something to teach you about circumcision and yourself. Brendan Marotta, 2017.
Awesome. Excellent. I will go on with it. Okay. So what was your parents' reasoning, excuses for allowing a psycho doctor to perform MGM on you?
I don't consider them psycho doctor. I consider them...
Oops. Oh, we are stuck again. I don't know if you can fix me. Fix.
Sorry,
Oh,
again, it
we're
happened.
stuck again. We were
I,
stuck for a second.
I consider them misinformed and tragically ignorant and doing what they think is best. Um, and So again, there's always this like pointing fault to people. It's not any one specific or any one group's fault. It's a society at large. We are a genital cutting culture. We are a rape culture. We are a culture of dissonance and disconnect of emotion and feelings of people. And that's why young people today are working so hard on activism. I mean, there was, you know, during civil rights, everyone thought they were crazy and stupid, and they would argue and staunchly defend it. Same thing with women's rights. Same thing with the sexual revolution. Anywhere you go, it's always the innovators and the young people that are trying to work on this that everyone tends to ignore or debate or oppress, but in the end we win. And so I can't wait to see the day when we can look back and be like, we used to do that to babies. I mean, Europeans look at us the way we look at FGM in Africa. They look at us with perplexity and like disgust. It's very easy for us to point at other cultures. America is number one, right? So, and I'm not saying we're not a great country. There's just things that need to be fixed. And any systems almost like to consider themselves infallible. The medical system is not to be questioned. Legal system is not to be questioned. Yet there's issues and flaws in it everywhere. I mean, just 60 years ago, doctors would recommend smoking, just
You got that right. Oh, you're stuck again. We're stuck. I don't know why. Stuck. Darn it. What's going on here?
happen again.
We're stuck again.
Doctors would recommend smoking viscerals, menthol cigarettes to cure, throat cancer. I kind of liken this to circumcision. Circumcision is a cure in search of a disease.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of answered the question, but I'll just ask it again, or I'll ask it anyway because it's part of my thing. And so, have you ever? Wait, sorry. Okay. Do you plan on, or have you forgiven your parents? Yes or no? Why or why not?
Yes, I've forgiven my parents because they are open, understanding, and are supporting me and realize what they did was wrong. My mother has apologized to me. My father has not as of yet. We're going through our own repairing our relationship. There's a lot of things I've done to him. We're just repairing our relationship, trying to get it back the way it was. I love him very much, and I'm probably going to get him and my stepmother Laura to watch this video. I'm going to share this with them along with all my family and friends. And so I just want to say I love y'all, and thank you. And if you've made it this far to this video, thank you for watching. And yeah.
That's awesome. I love your positive attitude. I know I've talked to a couple other people. Well, I talked to John Atkinson. He was pretty positive. I also talked to Jacob, but he was more angry. And I mean,
It's
just
easy.
totally
I've been through the trauma of this. I've been through the anger. I've been through jealousy. I've been through sadness, powerlessness, and I'm kind of at the other side where now I channel all of that into positive activism. We can't drive out hate with more hate. Only love can do that.
Right.
Simple
Exactly.
as that. Simply enough.
Can't fight fire with fire, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going with, oh shoot, where am I? Going up my list here. Okay, have you ever had a conversation about MGM with your friends or other family members besides your parents?
Yes. My grandmother and my grandmother, my mom's side, she's watched the film, talked about it with her, and my grandmother on my dad's side, I've talked with them a little bit. I have other, like this, and my girlfriend and some friends are, there's more people to be reached, and there's more people that I'm going to reach. There's just finding the time and also finding the courage. I'm only recently found, like I said, I've only recently burdened forth more into my adult year and finding that I can have a voice, that um, my voice is powerful, and that
Absolutely.
I can use my intelligence and resources and experiences for good and to reconnect where bonds have been broken. And I'm a recovering drug addict, and a lot of my drug use, especially during the past few years, has been an attempt to numb a lot of the feelings I have about circumcision. A lot of babies will go into shock, a disassociative shock from the pain of circumcision, and the drug I'm addicted to is called dextromethorphan. It's a dissociative anesthetic, and so I've used the numbing natures and sedating features of this drug almost as like a self-medication, and it's caused a lot of problems in my life. Don't even want to go into that. Don't do drugs, kids. Simply
Don't.
put. So yeah, and through my drug use, I've harmed a lot of relationships, and so that's what another thing I'm doing is just trying to repair those broken bridges and broken bonds. So yeah.
Wonderful. This is just a wonderful interview. I love it. You are so inspiring. You inspire me. Um, Help me, because I can get pretty angry about this, and it didn't even happen to me, but I just there are times, I talk to people, on the other side of the tracks that are kind of, on the wrong side of history, telling me, oh my God, my son's just fine and da 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 da, and I'm just like, no, no, you can't tell me this. But yes, I know I need to work on that. Um, so I have, are you planning on or in the process of restoring your foreskin while you're
Well,
wearing it?
I have that sheath that I invented. Um, I just ordered my skin cone from TLC Tugger, Ron Lowe again, my friend. I recommend anyone check out his site. I have a plethora of resources and sites, so anyone who wants to get in contact with me, find my Facebook page, Alex Frick. Um, I'm open to email, discussions, phone number, anyone, just just come to me, and I have YouTube videos if you're not wanting to go super deep in it, if you want to just learn about racial, I have short things. If you want to go more deep into it, like I have, I have ways to reach anyone of different races, religious backgrounds, Christians, Black, you name it, white. I have a ton of resources. So anyone who's interested, I would be happy to share.
Yes, please get a hold of Alex Frick and talk to him. Very, very intelligent man here. Very intelligent. So I had the question of where can you find the restoration process, but you already told us that and all that information. So we'll just go on to
tlctugger.com. So yeah.
Okay, so what have you or would you tell someone who is pregnant or planning to become pregnant, planning to become about the truth of MGM in hopes to save her son?
Well, first I would ask, I see you're pregnant. Congratulations. May I ask, is it a boy or a girl? And if it's a boy, I would say, I have information that I would like to share you that's pertinent to you as a mother. If you would take the time, sit down, and just let me talk to you about a decision that affects your child and could affect him for life. And as a mother, you always want to do what's best, and a father too. Fathers too. You always want to do what's best for your children, and so, I just implore you to just have a discussion with me. I love children. I love studying psychology of children. I love being around them. They're beautiful. Just learning about the world. Very moldable. Very people aren't born bad. People are So the children, the way we treat our children is essential to how our culture is shaped.
Absolutely. And then what would you tell a person currently who has cut their son and believes that they did the right thing?
I'm actually not sure because thought about, like, how do you approach that without making them just be like, shut up, defensive, how do you, I've thought about that myself. I'm not quite sure how I would do that. I can't really answer that yet.
Okay. I just kind of came up with that one because I am still trying to come up with more questions, but I just thought about
Yeah.
it because, I've been in that situation a few times, and I've been just shunned and told that my son's just fine, and they said, oh, maybe I should call the ambulance and have him, brought to the hospital, and all sorts of different things. Got into a fight with my cousin, who her 8-year-old son, um, he had been mutilated. Sorry, and well, she pretty much disowned me as her cousin and doesn't want anything to do with me now because she believes that my daughter, who is 6, should not know anything about MGM, and that is not a child's place to be knowing about those
Yeah,
things.
it's interesting. They want to shield. I've seen people wanting to shield their children's eyes from activists protesting on the street, and it's like, it's funny. Shield them. Don't tell them. Don't talk about it. But it happens to them. It's crazy ironic.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much told her, like, so this isn't a child's issue, but yet it's happening to children. So therefore, it really is a child's issue.
Exactly.
And when do you plan on telling your son that this happened to him? I mean, if it's none of his business about what happened to his genitals.
Exactly.
So, you know, um, so I was stuck there, but then I also got into it. Apparently, her friends got online and started talking to me, and I had told them some, different symptoms that I've heard that happen, and I know that not all men have the same symptoms.
I've seen children with botched circumcisions. I have a foster brother that I've seen with adhesions. There's a lot of stuff that men don't even realize about their penis that is caused by circumcision. A lot of problems and a lot of little complications that men just almost, it's like a lot of men aren't even aware. They think that they're just born this way, that this is just how the penis looks, that ring around your penis is just normal. And it's just crazy to see how ignorant men are of their own bodies.
But what would you tell someone who's in denial, who like I have a friend on my page. I haven't gotten rid of him. I haven't blocked him, but he is totally in denial about what happened to him. He believes that it's okay and that the parents have choices and whatever, and he's glad that they took his extra skin away.
That's another thing, is that people be like, oh, he'll thank me later. The only time that I've ever seen someone thank them later is when they're extremely ignorant and in denial. Usually, as soon as they really get the full brunt of what circumcision is, any man who knows your child will not thank you. I can assure you that.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of men, on my page and on other pages that say, "Well, I'm really happy that my mother did this to me," and I'm really confused about like how they could be happy about that.
Again, it comes down to medical thing. The easiest way to justify it is saying that, oh, this has been done to everyone. This is normal, and this is a medical thing that we do. So we're a very medicinal society, very preventative society. So it's easy to to fall into that notion. Comforting lies are softer than raw truths.
Right, exactly. I mean, I kind of fall into, for me, I want to say brainwashed America.
Yes.
And I mean, I feel like we really need to get to these like younger boys like soon. I know that I talked to a friend of mine who said that it telling an 8-year-old boy might be a bit detrimental only because of what his parents might say or not be on his side. But I feel like if we don't get to the younger generation like soon, their parents are going to tell them, the lies, and then these kids are just going to be, they're going to be brainwashed. And how are we going to change that? you know I don't know. I mean, I was when I was protesting at the state fair, I was kind of following along with my friend Desang, and she was, oh, we are stuck again. Oh, okay, hold on. Hopefully okay. Okay, so I was kind of following along, and the kids would walk by and I'd say, um research it on your iPad, hashtag circumcision, bloodstainedmen.com. And, they were younger kids and would say, get out your iPads, kids, go check it out, go find out what that scar is on your penis. And there was a lady who walked by with like a 10, 12-year-old. There were two boys, and I said, hashtag circumcision, MGM, um, bloodstainedmen.com, and she just kind of like, she put her hands on the boy's ears and it's like, no, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't tell my son that, and I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, do you think that it's too young to tell an 8-year-old that they've been mutilated?
Argument. I could argue for or against that. I'm not sure.
I know. I like. I
Think you
maybe.
gotta go. Think
I
you gotta go. You gotta go by case basis.
I suppose. I mean, we're just protesting. We want to get the word out, And I don't know. I mean, I feel so bad. Like now when I go places, I just can't help but think, is
Yeah.
that poor boy
Yeah.
mutilated?
Same.
I can't help but think about it. And so when I go into, restaurants and stuff, sometimes, I just might act like I'm on the phone and be like, hey, bloodstainedmen.com, check it out.
Hmm.
So I don't know, I'm echoing again. Why am I echoing back at myself? Is there something wrong with that? But let's see here. Let me see here. Have you ever been successful in saving any babies from MGM with
Yes.
your information?
2.
Awesome. Can you tell us your success story and how you did that? How you were able to do that? What did you tell them?
Mainly talking to young. Well, they weren't pregnant yet, but just young, soon-to-be mothers wanting to get pregnant mothers. Um, 2 friends of mine. I don't know if I want to go in more detail than that, but yeah.
Okay. But they believed you. Have you ever talked to any teens, younger teen? I don't have the question down. So I
Yes.
don't know, like
Yes.
males.
Yes. Like I said, I've talked to a lot of people about this. A lot of people my age, males and females, teenagers, 14, 15, 16, 17. Uh, yeah, all there.
Wow, you are so awesome. I'm learning a lot from you, and I'm hoping that a lot. I'm willing to believe that a lot of people are going to be learning from you. I'm just so I'm so glad to have met you, and would like to do many more interviews. and I'm gonna still continue to try to come up with more questions, you know. And when I think about them, I try to jot them down in my phone, you know, and
Yeah, and we could
make
talk.
them
We could
more.
talk. We could talk later, and I could do more. Suggest some things.
Oh,
Just talk
absolutely.
about it.
Okay, and then so is there any, basically I'm at kind of at the end here.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to add or tell the viewers? Anything else that we missed or have more to say?
Um. No, not really.
Well, I'm just going to end this with um, thank you, Alex Frick, for sharing your story, your knowledge, and for answering my questions.
Hold on.
And
It,
as
it
always,
broke. It broke up again. It stopped.
oh,
It. I'm just going.
okay. I'm not a professional, but I'm working on this. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Alex Frick, for sharing your story, knowledge.
Okay. It
Up.
broke up again. Hold on. Stop.
Oh,
Okay. Continue. Okay. Start off from what you said. Getting.
well, thank you for sharing your knowledge and answering my questions here on Minnesota Activists today or tonight, I should say. And always peace, love, happiness, foreskin. And thank you for watching. And I always will go into
Yeah.
and make sure you go to bloodstainedmen.com,
Yeah.
yourwholebaby.org, savingourSons.org, savingsons.org, intactamerica.org, intactnetwork.org, intactpride.org.
And one more that I would like to add: circumstitions.org.
All right, perfect. And then, of course, as always, watch the new release movies, American
American circumcision.
Circumcision,
Definitely.
and Doctors Opposing Circumcision on YouTube, Elephant in the Hospital,
Elephant in the
and
Hospital by Ryan McAllister. Great
Ryan
college,
McAllister,
great college professor. Another thing I would recommend for young parents.
and Jordan Orell. All his videos, Circumcision Letter to My Mother. Wonderful, wonderful letter. He is very inspiring. He has tons of different videos you can check out on YouTube. Thank you for watching and have
Yeah,
a wonderful night.
thank you for having me here. I'm gonna go and send this to friends and family. So thank you.
Absolutely. Send it all over the place. I'm actually going to pay to get this published. I'm going to pay on my page so that it gets to more people. I'm definitely going to pay for this one.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Thank you.